Hi everybody, I'm Inge from Tarot Wikipedia and I'm going to give you guys a tarot reading. It's a free webinar. The free webinars are most likely to be recorded on a Thursday, but Thursdays this Thursday I'm going to be busy because I'm renovating my old flat and I have to be there. So it's going to be today, Tuesday. But most likely these webinars will be on a Thursdays from now on. Firstly, I would like to say that thanks everybody for sending in all of your questions. And if I can't get to all of your questions, please don't despair. Whatever I'm teaching you here, you can use it for yourself. What is better than getting a tarot reading? To be able to give yourself a tarot reading. It is much more empowering. And I want to teach you guys everything I know. You can also study with me. I teach a technique called the arrows, which is card combinations. Now I have taken that. Now at the moment you can only really study the arrows, not the full course, just the technique. I'm going to re-record some of the videos because I just thought the production wasn't professional enough. So it's going to be the same content but better production. Just because, I do think that's important as well. And it was just the first time I recorded it, it was just me and my phone basically. Now I want to have this sort of setup and I'm going to have a screen behind me as well. And so I'm going to re-record the arrows videos and then that will be on the market again for, if you guys want to study that technique. That is basically how to understand card combinations, how to connect to the creator, how to clear yourself before and after reading, things like that. And also how to predict location, the timing of events, just using this arrow technique. So it's this is actually a system that I used. I used this to speed up my readings because I spent a lot of time on my email readings, so I wanted everything to be perfect. And I needed to double check that what I was getting was correct and all these things, and because one card can mean so many things, and I didn't want, I didn't want to influence my own views on the reading at all. I wanted it purely to be about the seeker. So when the arrows technique actually came to me when I was on holiday in the Gold Coast. It just came to me like lightning. I just saw this system of reading card combinations with numbers, the suits, and how much was actually there. So it's like card distribution basically, how much is showing up or what, and sometimes it is what is lacking that will give you the answer. So when you read card combinations now with me, we will look at what is there versus what isn't there, and that will give you the answer. So it's much quicker as well, and you'll understand everything so much better. So I'm just going to try and get to the questions now. My internet unfortunately is a little bit slow, which is typical. If you haven't yet checked out the zodiac readings for this month, they are on my YouTube channel. You just go on the playlist, and also if you haven't gotten the full moon reading, then that's also on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of questions about relationships, and with tarot, that is probably why most people actually turn to tarot. It is to solve some kind of relationship issue or problem that they're having. And that is how I started with tarot as well. And then tarot can become almost like an obsession. Like you just want to find the answers and you don't want to, and you just shuffle the cards and you look and you want to find the answers so bad and you want it to be what you want it to be. Sometimes what we need to do more than anything is to let go of a situation. Sometimes even holding on to something will make it exactly stagnant the way you don't want it to be. When we are allowing ourselves to let go, it can become whatever it was meant to be. So if it was meant to be a reconnection, it will be a reconnection. If it's meant to be a cut or an ending, it will be that. And that is because it was meant to be. Never ever go against destiny. And destiny, sometimes, we have a lot of control over our lives, and we can change things and all of these things. But when it comes to a lot of times when it comes to relationships, we want to manifest for other people, you know, we want to change people and make situations what we want. But our lesson in many ways in these situations is actually not to do these things, not to try and control, not to want to make someone who we want them to be when they can't be that person. And if we can't love them for who they are, and then we can't be really, you know. And the same thing goes when people can't love us for who we are, then, you know, it can be just very, very difficult. So when it comes to relationship, I can only suggest that you release and you ask the Creator that Creator's will happen in whatever way that is. So you kind of surrender. And if you want to manifest your soulmate, and you want that to kind of, and you think you know who your soulmate is, and you actually, maybe you've been completely wrong, maybe that wasn't your soulmate, or maybe you thought someone was your soulmate that just was not your soulmate at all, then it's very easy to get hung up on the wrong person. So when you do what I will say, I will write that in the description section. There is a command prayer you can use, and it is to release and also to find your soulmate. And it is Creator of all that is. It is my intent and my command that my primary soulmate, which is your divine soulmate, is revealed to me in a way I can understand, feel, and accept in a joyful way. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. So then, if the person you're hung up on, if the person you really want to be your soulmate or whatever is not your soulmate, it will be a block, a cut. If that person is your soulmate, something will happen. And you will kind of, you know, it will flow and make it obvious to you. If timing is an issue, then whatever needs to happen will happen so that the right time can, you know, that the perfect timing will occur. But these are things that it's very hard for anyone to control, and it's very difficult to try and control, and it will only lead to frustration. Now, if you say this command prayer and nothing happens, then it's only because you have probably not met your soulmate yet, and your soulmate might not be ready for you. People they think it's so simple with soulmates. It's not. Sometimes timing is wrong, and your soulmate needs to prepare for you as well. It's not just as simple as being with a soulmate. There's lots of things that can be, you know, getting in the way of a relationship. So with these things, we kind of have to keep our feet firmly planted on the ground and not get carried away so much. Even though when it comes to the, you know, emotions, feelings, and the heart, it's very hard not to be carried away, of course. But sometimes surrender to Creator's will and trust that when the time is right, if it's meant to be, it will happen. And there's nothing you can do in between other than surrendering, and that is also your lesson. And enjoy your life in the process, which is another soul lesson, is actually your independence. Letting go, trusting, let go and let God. These are the things that sometimes, even though they're hard, very, very hard, can be actually the reason you were born, to learn these things. And as frustrating as it can be, when it comes to soulmates, this is just what I really truly believe. There is nothing that can really break that connection anyway. So whatever we go through here on the earth plane is only a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of our existence. And we put up, obviously everything seems incredibly important to us while we're here. But when we look at it from more of a Creator perspective, God's perspective, it's only a tiny bit of a much bigger whole, of eternity basically. So what we think is taking a long time and it's frustrating, it's really not when you think about it that way. And now is a perfect time for everyone who is suffering in their love life to really find themselves, connect with who they really are, develop themselves, and trust. Just trust that everything will work out the way it's meant to work out. So the first question I would like to read for you guys is from Beth. And by the way, guys, if you guys want a reading from me, a paid reading, the readings that I normally do are the soulmates reading and 1 year reading. If you have a very sort of straightforward question, then I'm more than happy to read for you on the free webinars. If you just have like a question about a person or a situation and find out, you don't necessarily need an hour reading or a half-hour reading, you know, to just find out that answers. I'm much more happier to read for you in the free webinar then. So Beth, this is for you. And you also gave me some date of birth, so I'm going to do numerology as well. I love doing numerology, especially in relationship questions. And this is your question. You fell in love with somebody and you have complicated situations. She's older than you, and you recently broke up, and now you are devastated. You feel like she will be back, but it's hard for you to read the situation. There's past life stuff going on. And you know what? I did your numbers. I'm not going to read the whole question, but you want to know if you're going to reunite. What is the future? This is a perfect time to do all the things that I just said. Let go and let God. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. You can have complete peace of mind around this. There's nothing you can do to change the situation. And the more you try to change it, the less it will work. It will just be, you know, it has to be what it's meant to be. Now you did the you gave me the numbers, so you are born on a 6th day. 2 + 4 is 6, and then your attitude number is a 1. So you are someone that, if someone believes in you, you're willing to really go the extra mile for someone. If someone believes in you, you really be there for that person or that project or whatever it is. You'll do anything to prove yourself for the right people. And then you are, okay, so that's 1 attitude, and then 2, 2, 1, 2. So you are a 2 life path. A 2 life path loves to love. You know, it's number 2. So it likes to be in pair. And love is the most important thing. And when you love someone, you really, really love them, like anything. And you are actually in a personal year of 2 as well. That means that this is a year you can really manifest amazing love for yourself, and you'll know before this year is over exactly what you want. This is a 9 months for you, so this is where you're dealing with abandonment issues. This is where you're dealing with everything that was painful in the past. This is where you're dealing with, you know, things that has been, just things that haven't always been easy. And also you need to, this is also where you're learning to let go as well. And then I want to do the numerology on the love interests. So she's born on a 5 day, 8 attitude. 8 attitudes care a lot about financial security. A lot of time they are very much stuck in security mode and need security. And they're always thinking about how to have more security, and sometimes they feel like they don't have enough security. They never take anyone's advice, especially not when they also have a 5 in the numbers. So 5 and 8, they often learn the hard way because they never take anyone's advice on anything. And then her life path number is so 8, 9, 9, 6, 2. So she's a 2 as well. Sometimes when we have these, we meet someone with our own life path, it's an extra strong connection sometimes, and yes, it's a soulmate connection. The only problem here is that this person has a 5, born on a 5 day, 2 life path. 5 and 2 could not be further apart in what they want. So it's like she's completely pulled in different directions. A 5 doesn't really want relationships. They just want to be free, and the 2 life path, which is who she really is, wants relationship. But at the moment, it's like a lot of times when I see people with a 5 and a 2, they can never make up their mind what they want. She's in a personal year of 9, so this is going to be a year of endings for her. And she's in a month of 7, so this is a month where she could really be triggered a lot in, you know, in just anything that she's tried to run away from, anything she hasn't really dealt with. This could be a difficult month where she feels like people are letting her down. I want to do, is this a soulmate layout? This is a spread I use on Tarot Wikipedia that you can do for yourself, for anyone that you want to know if it's a soulmate or not. And if the cards say that this is a soulmate, then again, there's not much you can do. You cannot make anyone realize anything. They just have to come to terms. They just have to learn in their own time, and everybody learns differently. But you can pray for that person, and you can ask the Creator to bring whatever is, whatever is meant to happen. Creator's will happen. It's always for the best. It's always for the best. Believe me, if I always got what I wanted, my life would probably be not great. So sometimes the Creator knows much more what's good for us. I have a background in theta healing, and when I say the Creator, I mean the energy that is the ultimate love energy. So I just know if I always would get what I want, my life now would be, I would have just not been able to have a good life probably. I would have just been off track. Creator has closed doors for me and opened doors and guided me in a certain direction that was better than what I would have been able to come up with. And I want everyone to really sit with that information for a little bit, because it will give you peace of mind to know that if something doesn't seem to happen, or it could be a timing issue, but it can also be that maybe it's something better for you. So Beth, I'm going to do RV soulmate spread for you and your love interest. So this is a 10 card layout. So I read the card combinations. The bottom card is 9 of Cups, which could mean that everything will work out. So let's just have a look. So are we soulmates? That is the first. This is a soulmate. So you got 6 of Swords. So that is a neutral card. It's not really telling us yet if it is or isn't. What is your karmic connection? 6 of Wands. So basically your karmic connection would be that you're very compatible. And you'll be very successful together. Romance, business, or friendship, or all three, the High Priestess. I would say all three. Long-term versus short-term, the Star. I would say this is a long-term connection in your life. This is not something that's going to go away. Is this relationship based on materialistic needs or love? 5 of Cups, I would say that is a love connection, but it's also, this relationship is also meant to heal something in your life. It's not materialistic needs, it's just love. This is a connection where you really wanted to be the best it could be, because you knew how good it could be, how good it would be. It would be like the 9 of Cups, which is like all your wishes fulfilled. This was a relationship that would fulfill you on every level. How much passion will we have? 4 of Pentacles. So that can mean that there is some blocks in passion that needs to be, someone might be too afraid to give of themselves in that way. Maybe they're not feeling comfortable in their own body, or maybe they don't like themselves the way they, your love interest could be self-conscious about a lot of things, and that could actually be a block in the passion. How does this person feel about you? Justice. So this person has some strong rules when it comes to relationship. These rules could also be a block. It could be that she's very much in her head. She thinks it has to be, a relationship has to be like this, this, or this. She's not really trusting in her feelings very much. What does this person think of me? The Moon. So she's very confused. She does not know, she doesn't really understand what is going on at the moment. The Moon means that, you know, she thinks that you are very creative and very intuitive person, but it's almost like something has cast a shadow over everything, and then she can't really see exactly what is going on, and therefore she's afraid of trusting in her feelings. How does the other person communicate with me? So the Empress, she communicates in a very logical way. She's a bit non-emotional. She wants to be in control. She's very afraid of losing control. Outcome of relationship, the Magician. So the Magician is actually a really, really good card to get in relationship. This is a process, I feel. I just want to see, so you got the double 6, and you got a lot of major arcana cards. You got double 2, and you got double 4. So basically, this is a situation where, you know, you want to have some kind of control over the environment, over the situation, but at the moment there really is none. So this has to be some kind of this will have to develop over time. It will not happen overnight. I think this could become a strong soulmate connection, but there's a lot of obstacles. She'd have to have some realizations before she could be the soulmate. She would need to really trust herself completely, and there's nothing you can do to take her there. She has to be the one to go on that journey. She might think she already knows herself, the way she wants to be and who she is and all of that, and she might not think that there isn't that much else to really do now. And it's almost like you're not going to even really be in each other's lives as much, but there is a strong sense of destiny. So this is a connection. This is a sort of a karmic connection that will teach her about getting to know who she is, and really knowing herself on that level, that she doesn't have to have anyone else's approval. I feel like there could be a soulmate connection here. Again, it is something that will develop over time. And that is going to be the frustrating part, I guess. So do the command prayer and release it to the Creator. That's all you can do. Are there any arrows showing up here? No. And when I say arrows, I look for, basically what I look for is, well, hang on. There is a 9 in the moon. The moon is a 9 in numerology, and this card combination here is dominated with major arcana cards. When there's a domination of major arcana cards, it means, again, you have very little control over this situation. This is destiny. It will be what it was meant to be. But because you got the 9 here in how she thinks about you, it's almost like she's very influenced by you. And the 9 is the number for when we're just going with the flow, when we land on our feet, no matter the situation. So it's almost like she's very curious about you, and she's not really ever gonna completely let go, because that curiosity will keep her in your life, and that curiosity will keep the flow going. And I feel like that is what's going to lead to some kind of breakthrough, but it could take a while before that breakthrough is actually going to happen. It's a process. When that breakthrough, it's almost like she does not trust in her own feelings. That's what it feels like. That is a process. That is what she's learning. Now, because there's so many major arcana cards and there is a 9 there, that is actually an arrow of flow. So it's actually flowing in that direction, and it will end up as the Magician, which is actually the card for a soulmate. So I always read the first card with the second card, because 6 of Swords, it doesn't really tell you yes or no. It just tells you that you're moving towards something. So I feel like you are very much moving towards a strong connection with this person. And the part you're both learning now, well, for you, I think, is to let go of needing any type of control. And then what she's learning is to trust in who she really is. And once she has done this, could be a major breakthrough. But she's definitely very curious about who you are. And I don't think that curiosity that's not gonna, that's always gonna be there, and that is why she always wants to know more. She always wants to learn more, and she wants to know more about you. And that is kind of what is now, you know, playing on her mind and keeping the energy and the flow towards that connection, where it actually ended up as a magician, which is one of the most powerful cards in a soulmate reading, because that means that person is fulfilling on all levels. And the communication is always really, really good. Okay, so just do the command prayer and release and let go. That's the only way. Here we got a question from Carmen. You're wondering about your love life. You have been dating a little bit. You want to understand what is who they are and what's going on with me. I want to do a quick soulmate layout for you. So this is aiming at a soulmate that is going to be like I call it a primary soulmate. We can have 1 or 2 primary soulmates. And they're often, it's very rare that we're in, you know, primary soulmate is like a love connection. Sometimes it's like your best friend is your primary soulmate. That happens sometimes. It's very rare that it is, you know, it's very rare that it is, you know, sometimes you see people that are related and they're like brothers who never separate. They live together like a married couple, like they're just so close. And it's like, if you say one name, you have to say the name of the other. But it's very rare that you're related to your primary soulmate. But if you are, then that's a family member that you're extremely close with. And you probably will live, it's like brothers who never move, you know, they rent together, you know, they live their whole lives together. And they never really settle down with a spouse or anything. And then you have best friends sometimes that are primary soulmate. That's also kind of rare, but when it happens, it is like they just want to be together as best friends and live their lives together. It's very sort of platonic in that lifetime it would be. But most times a primary soulmate is someone you'll have a love, romance connection with. And when I say primary soulmate, it's someone you have many, many lifetimes with. And the connection is always really strong. And it's like, it's something you feel very difficult to let go of. And it would change you definitely in some way. So when you have a primary soulmate connection, you go, like I said, you go through many lifetimes together, you spend time together in between lifetimes. And you have 1 or 2 of those. And when you meet in this lifetime, it's often a pre-decided meeting point. And for the lucky ones, they get to form a relationship that will last. And for some people, it will be like a meeting that maybe will take place. Maybe it will be a relationship, or maybe for whatever reason they weren't meant to maybe stay together or whatever. That is where we need to work on ourselves, and that's where I feel like we really could have more control than we realize, because this is where we work on your abandonment issues, your fear of rejection, your fear of not being safe, your fear of your fear of getting hurt, you know, all of those. If you get clear and you don't have those programs, then you are much less likely to sabotage a soulmate relationship. So if you guys want to do the soulmate course, that is all about clearing up those fears and then predicting who is a soulmate and doing a soulmate manifestation using command prayers and visualization. But for now, Carmen, I'm going to do your soulmate reading. Okay. Situation, Ace of Wands. So there's a lot of energy now in your life and you have the go for it attitude. 7 of Wands, this is sort of what you want. So you want someone who's you're picky when it comes to love. You don't want just a relationship. You want a relationship that will be better than most relationships. You don't want just an average relationship. You want someone who you feel you can really respect that person. You can look up to that person. This person is better than anyone else that you met and anyone you could really compare that person with. Past life connection, 6 of Wands. So in past lives you had a lot of success and you've had a high status in society, and that's also why you want, in this lifetime, you want someone who will have a high status, who will have prestige, you know, who's in that advantage position in life. That is from a past life, so that is what you want in this lifetime as well. Where will you meet your soulmate? 10 of Cups. You will most likely meet your soulmate through some sort of spiritual pursuit. 10 of Cups is a very spiritual number. So some sort of spiritual pursuit where you're fulfilling some kind of need within yourself, a spiritual need. That's how you will probably meet. The World. Where is your soulmate? That can mean that your soulmate is somewhere at the moment, maybe in another part of the world. So this spiritual pursuit could be, sometimes people meet online, but if you are meeting online, it will be a spiritual meeting place more than a dating site. And this person, like I said, is very sort of worldly, so could be in another part of the world. Who is the soulmate? You get the Devil card. That means that your soulmate is probably very materialistic and is probably very abundant, has money, and also might be Capricorn, have very strong Capricorn energy. An outcome of relationship, 4 of Cups. So this would probably be a relationship that would be very sort of stable, and you'd have to make sure that you don't forget about the romance. You know, 4 of Cups is when we feel that we kind of, we're not fulfilled anymore, and we're kind of looking, we're not really appreciating everything. So in this relationship, you'd have to learn to appreciate. You'd have to learn to keep that appreciation and the gratitude going. I'm going to double up the cards. So your soulmate could be a lawyer or working in some kind of legal job. That's what I feel, and it will be a high status position, and it will give, and you will also have a lot of status. So that is what this relationship is going to be about, and that's where you need to not rely. So your lesson in this relationship will be not to rely so much on this relationship for, you know, any type of fulfillment. You need to remember to also fulfill yourself, and not just let this sort of relationship carry you. You need to fulfill yourself as well, and that's going to be your lesson. So when you're in this relationship, this, you know, it's going to be an abundant, wealthy person. You need to keep pursuing your interests. You need to keep fulfilling yourself and your soul, and that is going to then be then this relationship will blossom. If you get underwhelmed because you feel like you have everything, there's nothing really to pursue, that's where you could run into problems. With the Minor Arcana cards, we have a lot of control in how to change things, so it's always a good idea. That's what I love doing the soulmate layout, is you can look at what is most likely to happen with the sort of ideas that you have, and then you can change things. You can simply have a mental shift and easily change your future. Gretel, for the free tarot reading webinar, when will I get a permanent job? When will I find stability in my career? I've been going from contract to contract in my career, and I want to know when I will find stability. So, you know what? Interestingly, you posted this question at exactly 11:44. When there is a synchronicity like that, I always pay attention to it. 11 is when the universe is open. If you ever see 11:11, it's like the gate is open for you to manifest. Just tell the universe what you really want. 44, that's another number that speaks of, our security. It's actually about our security, but it's also where you are an expert. If you combine all those numbers, it's number 1, which is where you need to be more aggressive, more ambitious, where you want to be number 1. And where can you be number 1? In an area that is really fulfilling to you. So if you have thought about doing more education or training, definitely advise this. 11 is also a master number. It's about mastering your life. So you need to be in a field where you feel passionate, that it's actually worth your time. So let's have a look at here. Just going to do a Celtic cross. I'm going to do timing of event. I'm gonna lay out the cards now quickly. So the Judgment card here is in the recent past. So that means that there's something that your purpose in life has actually started taking hold. And there's going to be like almost like an overnight breakthrough, but it's actually everything you've done up until now. So I feel like you already know what this is. And there's definitely a new beginning, but you could be going to... the Emperor actually speaks of like a big organization. That's where they say you should go. A big organization could even be a government job. So if you have any sort of contacts even, or if you know somebody, I feel there's a connection. But there could be, you could actually get a government job or an organization that is huge, a very big, secure organization. So have a look at applying for a government job. That will give you a lot of security and stability. And also I feel like where you're going to be working would be, you have a lot of freedom there as well. So you wouldn't be micromanaged or anything like that. It would be a happy, good environment. I didn't read all the cards now. I just did a quick Celtic cross to see where the cards were suggesting that you would go. So let's do timing of events. Strength speaks of your passion and where you are, you know, your natural abilities basically. So focus on what you're best at. What are your natural abilities? That's where you'll find a stable job. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You won't see all the cards here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6 and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I'm going to do 3 cards here. There's a lot going on. 2, 3, 4, 5. But in 4 to 5 months' time, that's when I really feel like your talents and skills are being appreciated, and that's where I feel like you're going to have a job that is giving you stability. That's where you get a lot of kings on the 3rd row, so that's like, it was almost like a long time coming, but when it arrived, it was all worth it. And I definitely feel like there's a major breakthrough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 months. I don't know why I counted that. I should have just seen 11. But in 11 months' time, you're getting only major arcana cards with the number 9 in the Hermit, which I said when you get a lot of major arcana cards with a 9, that is when everything is kind of flowing in sort of our favor. I feel like that's where you definitely will feel like, okay, now I am really secure. You know, you might think that that's a long time waiting, but I feel like that's where you could expand on this. You could expand on your living situation. You could think, what do you want in the future? Things will happen to take you to where you need to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in 5 months' time, I saw you working in a field where you get to use all of your skills and talents. But I feel like it's going to be either a government job or in a big organization where everything is very structured. And you'll be able to work pretty much unsupervised in many ways, which is going to be even better. Okay. Okay, another question from Mel. I would like to submit my question. I have been with a man for 22 years, but I don't feel like truly love. I sense more that he's only with me because we have children together. Okay, let's see if this is, let's do a Celtic cross. So bottom is King of Swords. King of Swords sometimes are someone who's made a big commitment, but they're not overly emotional and they're not very confident in speaking about their emotions. They feel like what they're providing and what they're giving, and you know what they're providing, food on the table and all of that. They're kind of in that mindset sometimes, not the most romantic card, and that's probably why you feel very confused. The Hanged Man is not telling you to look at your life and look at the most important thing in your life and value that. You're being a bit too paranoid about these situations. I'm going to turn this Eight of Swords around. Focus on your family. Yes, there's been disappointment, but there is a new beginning and there is happiness coming for you. Get the Fool. When the Fool is showing up in our future, it's like a big rush of energy where we just feel so excited about everything. You get the Judgment card. It's like you feel like your relationship needs to be resurrected, and then your partner get the Hermit. He's like the Hermit, so he's probably a bit introverted, not really, again, communicating. But what he really needs is for you to be like a friend, someone that he can talk to. And I feel like if you can focus on that friendship, maybe you feel like it's only going to be the friendship thing then. But for him, the friendship thing is actually incredibly important. Then you get double 5 here. When there's a double 5, you feel boxed in, we feel claustrophobic. But in the surprise position, it's actually the Lover's card. So I feel like you definitely can have some kind of reawakening of this relationship. There is passion there still. 5 of Wands shows up when someone is like very, very similar. And our similarities and our differences sometimes can be like, you know, it's like looking in a mirror. What we don't like about ourselves, we don't like about our partner. Where we have strength, you know, that can also become where we feel like we want to be kind of the leader or the more dominant ones. It's almost like there's a bit of a power struggle also, where you are so equally, you know, equally intelligent, equally strong, equally talented, and so no one's going to really admire the other more or kind of take a sort of a step back and let the other one sort of lead. No one's going to be the more dominant. When I see that two people are completely equals like this, they often have some type of power struggle. And that can, in a relationship, can become a difficult situation. But what they're basically currently saying, use that to your advantage. Don't let it be a disadvantage. It's very hard to find someone who is our equal in every way. Often we find someone who's not our equal and we either have to compromise or we have to always feel not good enough. So be grateful that this is your equal and let go of the power struggle. Focus on your family and don't... and basically, I feel like you need to really look at what you have. There has been some disappointments. There has been. You see that in 5 of Cups, and there has been some grief, but there's still love there. You know, when you look at 5 of Cups, that person is looking at what's not there anymore, but something else has actually, something else has happened that you didn't actually even know was there. Something else has been growing. Something else has been evolving in your relationship, and if you see what that is, you really appreciate that. It's almost like a new phase of your relationship where you can actually enjoy this relationship more. There's more freedom in this relationship. There is more time to actually enjoy this relationship than what has been in the past. So now is the time to take everything that's good about this relationship and nurture that to the maximum. But you are very much two equals, and you are probably locking head a little bit because of that. So it's almost like now you just have to rise above a little bit. You have to be the most mature one and rise above. And for your partner, friendship within the relationship is very, very important. Louise, have I met my soulmate? I'm currently in a relationship, but I feel like he's more of my life partner. What should I do? Like I said, you can have 1 or 2 soulmates, and sometimes it's very hard to know, you know, what to do in relationships. Let's have a look. we do Celtic Cross again. Again, we got the King of Swords, which is, you know, a non-emotional card when maybe we feel like someone is not really letting us in, and we kind of banging our head against a wall sometimes when it comes to communication. Three of Swords here in what's crossing, so that means there is miscommunication. What's the best thing you could do? Knight of Wands. So you need to either do sport or some sort of outdoor activity, travel, some kind of adventure that makes your life fun. What is in the past that's gone? Knight of Pentacles. So that is kind of like you know, the routine of your life. It's almost like you've outgrown the routine. Recent past, you get the Moon, so that means that there might even be a little bit of secrets, things that you feel like you can't tell your partner, and maybe your partner also is not telling you everything. Eight of Swords is in the future, so that is more confusion in what to do, not sure what to do. It's almost like you, it's very, very difficult to make a decision with Eight of Swords. Ace of Swords is, you just really feel like cutting through all confusion. You want to communicate. You have a very strong desire to communicate. Partner positions, Seven of Wands. So your partner is always a bit defensive, not wanting to let you in. Knight of Cups, surprise position. That could be a new love interest. Now you got 3 knights. So there's a lot of doors opening for you if you did want to go. And also when you get 3 knights, then you have to look at the knight that didn't show up. And it's Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is lacking. So it's almost like you're not mentally compatible, or you're not communicating at all. It's a complete breakdown in your communication. Ten of Swords is the final outcome card, and I do 2 more and I get 10 of Cups. So I feel like at the moment there is complete breakdown in the relationship. I would give this relationship one more go and try and get communication going, because there is still some kind of spiritual connection between you. And I feel like if you were to leave, you could always be like, what if? And you don't want the what if. You want to be completely sure. Knight of Cups here is a some kind of emotional awakening. It can also be a new love interest, but that could also complicate things a lot as well. So what I would do if I were you is to try and have some kind of reconnection before you leave. Just try and have some kind of last effort resource on the relationship. Because I feel like if not, you're in a rush at the moment, but I feel like if you could just communicate, then things would be better. And if you can't communicate at all, if you feel like there is no communication, there will never be any communication at all, then you are free to leave, but at least then you won't ever think what if, because you don't want to live with the what if. You don't want to live with the what ifs. It's better to be completely sure, but you need to communicate, even if it's difficult and even if it's gonna be hurtful. Let's have a look at some more questions. Alright, so there's a lot of people sending me card combinations, so have a look at what I've been teaching you here. If you want to learn card combination, I teach just the card combination course. It's $80. You get to learn all of the arrows technique. If you want the full course, the full arrows course, and that will be, I'm going to re-record, so that will come out soon. Anyway, I want to leave it at this, and keep sending me in questions for next week's free webinar. It's been a very emotional week for me. So I'm gonna have a break now from reading cards. When you do this sort of work and you read tarot, and if you want to read tarot for others, you always have to look after yourself as well. You have your own lives to live, and if while you're going through your own problems and ups and downs, you know, you really don't need to bring that to the table. So it's very good. The one reason I read with the arrows is so I don't bring my own problems to the card reading. You know, it's the worst thing when you start giving advice because of what you're going through. The arrows will tell you very clearly what is actually going on, so that I don't say something because that's what I would want to do in the situation because of my previous experiences. Now I can read the tarot in pretty much any conditions now, but it's because the arrows. If you guys want to do the arrows course and you also want to learn the card meanings, there is a specific course just for card meanings. I can give you a combined price that is going to be very good. It's going to be a good price to learn both. If you want to do the arrows course, you will learn, that is a specific course again. But I want to be open-minded and give you guys whatever it is that you need, because there's a lot of courses out there now that I've created. And you might want the card combination course with, for example, the tarot meanings course and not the arrows course, for example. And I don't want you to pay, I want you to be able to get the card combinations course with the card meanings course for a price that's not going to be too much for you. Now I do help you guys on a one-on-one basis, so it is worth your time and effort, and you will learn how to read objectively, how to be more intuitive. In the arrows course, it's a lot about intuition, connecting to the creator, doing prayer commands and things like that. So I do recommend that you check that course out when it is done. Now I also have the soulmate course, which is all about clearing beliefs and getting ready for the soulmate, even a soul fragment retrieval and a soul healing and all of that. My background is in theta healing, so that is why I created that course. It is for people to kind of navigate their own love life, and also I add new elements to the course as well. I listen to what my students are saying, and then I make sure that they have everything that they basically need. Because I've done tarot for so long, I sometimes forget that for a complete beginner, just shuffling and cutting the deck can be like, what do I do? So in the soulmate course, you learn how to do all of that. You learn the card meanings. You will learn how to do the soulmate spread, how to change beliefs. Basically, you'll do it through affirmations, connection to the creator, meditation, and things like that. So it will take you on a big journey. And that was it for me. My next webinar will be Thursday next week. And so if you didn't get your question answered, you can send it in to tarotwikipedia.com/contact me. Bye!